Welcome to Sprague Homestead. I'm Kanan, and today we are going to answer the question of what is the best battery for your solar power system. Now, a lot of people are going to think this is a really straightforward answer. The best battery is your favorite, right? But the truth is there are a lot of factors that go in to determine what is going to be the best battery for your solar system. The first question you really have to ask is it a new system where you're going to have a blank slate, you have no equipment bought, or you're still doing your research, or you're actually going to replace or retrofit an existing system with an existing equipment with new batteries. So let's take the case of a new system going in. You're currently researching, you're looking through websites, you're talking to vendors, or you've got a solar power company that may do all of it, turnkey, complete system, and you want to put in extra batteries. So at this point you can decide, well, I need to look at a certain few things. One of the things you want to know is how much power you need to store. Now, this may be something overnight that you're only going to need 1 day's worth of power because you have an alternative source, like maybe you have wind generation, you have hydropower, you have a backup generator that can charge your batteries. If you have a huge snowstorm that comes in, or you have a nuclear winter and there is no sun. In either case, you just need to know how much power you're using. Now, your current bill can probably give you a pretty good example of that, or your current on-grid power company, if you're trying to go off-grid, can probably help you with that of how much power you use on a daily basis to get that amount. Now, the second piece of this is going to be what type of maintenance you are willing to accommodate. The flooded lead acid batteries to my right here are ones I just took out. Now, these required checking the water. Initially, it was probably every few months, but at the end of their life, this last couple months was checking the water in them at least once a week to make sure they are constantly covered in water, or the cells were covered in water. That takes not a lot of time, but I tell you what, it becomes a real hassle to deal with. And that may not be something you want to do. So you may want to look at something more like an absorbed glass mat, a lithium, or a lithium iron phosphate, which is abbreviated LiFePO4. Those are a little bit more, I guess, less intensive on the maintenance. You would say less hands-on. Now, of course, one of the things everybody wants to talk about is the budget. How much do batteries cost? And of course, the bigger storage unit you have means that you're going to have to spend more money. So if you want to store a lot of power, you use a lot of power, and then you want 3 days worth of that, well, that's going to be a lot of battery storage. Now, you may be able to buy one massive battery, or you might be able to just add in a series of batteries. You know, if you have a 48-volt system like we do, you can add 4 12s in series, which gets you to 48 versus buying one massive 48-volt battery. Another thing to keep in mind is the size of these batteries and how they're going to be configured. Right now we have a battery box with our batteries inside that is 36 deep by 52 wide by 24 inch tall. Now, it's not huge, but at the same point, there are certain things, if I want more batteries, I'm going to outgrow that system or that space, and I'll need to adjust. Right now I have some water lines that I can't go any wider because I have water lines in the way. So those are some of the things you need to consider, is where you're going to put it, how accessible is it going to be, and you've got to consider the environment it's in. Does it have a lot of temperature swing from winter to summer? We, in ours, which is not greatly insulated currently, have about a 45 or a 40 degree window Fahrenheit. It goes from 45 in the winter to 85 in the summer. And that affects battery performance. So that's one of the things you want to consider, is the environment, and also if there's any venting. Flooded lead acid gives off a toxic gas that you don't want building up, so you need venting out of the room somehow, with a fan going up through the eave, or etc. Lithium, some of the other ones don't require so much venting, but just keep that in mind. If you're going to put in a brand new system that needs venting, you're going to have to cut a hole in the wall or the roof to get the gases out, most likely. Now, the second piece of this is an existing. What is going to be the best battery for your existing system? Well, that's going to be a tricky one, because your equipment most likely is going to dictate what type of battery you can use. In our case, our system is 6 years old. We put it in 6 years ago, but the equipment was actually manufactured 7 years ago, and it had some time on the shelf before we bought it. So for us, when we replaced batteries recently, we went from flooded lead acid to absorbed glass mat, or AGM batteries. The reason was we didn't go all the way to lithium because our inverters and our chargers would not work with lithium. It's too new of a technology, and it doesn't use the same, or doesn't use a charging system or charging strategy, I would say, that our inverters and chargers can handle. So we were only able to go to AGM batteries, which is a huge performance gain over flooded lead acid in terms of maintenance, actually a little bit less on cost, and it didn't require any major improvements on the surrounding environment, right? I don't need any extra venting. I need a little bit more insulation just to handle the winters. And the actual batteries fit inside the box where these flooded lead acid came out. So what is going to be the best one? Well, if you're going to use your existing system and your existing equipment, you really should talk to the manufacturer of that system and tell them what you want to do and get their recommendations and the technical specs of what it can do. You may think, I want to go all the way into the newest technology, which could be crystal something, I don't know, whatever it is. But your equipment may not do that. So if you want to do that, you might just have to buy new stuff. And at that point, well, you're back to the new scenario where you've got a clean slate. Otherwise, you're going to have to work within the boundaries of your existing system and what it can do. Okay, so it's a tricky question, but what is the best battery for your solar system? Well, you can't just say it's going to be blank unless it's a new system, because an existing system probably has some restrictions. So with that, answer the question for yourself, figure out what you can and can't do, and then buy accordingly to what your wallet will allow you to spend. Hopefully that makes sense. Any questions or comments, feel free to leave them down below. And I bet you already had an answer 20 seconds into this video. You knew exactly what you wanted as the best answer. And then I threw the curveball of the existing system. So hopefully everything makes sense, guys. If you have any questions, comments, leave them down below. Like, subscribe, and share the video out. Tell everybody how great this video is, and we'll see you next time. Happy homesteading.